Hello everyone and welcome to another Zyori vlog. This brings us to vlog number 8, the vlog dedicated to dressing like a pirate. I had a request from one of the viewers to either do a breakdown or a vlog with a bandana on. Bandana Ori, and here we are. Yes, indeed, in the flesh. I always feel like a pirate when I rock the bandana, but I actually kind of like it. It keeps all the little frizzies down, and it makes my hair look like it's well kept. So it's very nice indeed. Hopefully, it's not too painful of a look. It's quite the change, quite the change. The first time my family saw me wearing a bandana, they just broke out in laughter and told me that I need to stop looking like a biker. I'm not so sure. Anyhow, I don't have too much breaking news to talk about actually today. There are a few things I do want to note, and then just one big topic I want to talk about in some grave detail. So first things first, let's take care of the administrative stuff. I think the timing of the vlogs are now going to be Monday mornings, somewhere around 9, 10 in the morning. We're going to take them down to about once a week. That seems to be about the appropriate frequency for the Zyori vlogs, and that timing seems to work out very nice. I always wake up fresh on Mondays and think, okay, what happened last week, and what am I going to be doing this week? So it seems to naturally work out very, very nicely, just to wake up and get all my thoughts down on a vlog and post it up to YouTube for you guys. So sometime Monday mornings, like I said, 9, 10, 11, by the time it gets uploaded, it kind of just depends on when I get up. So that's when you can expect to see vlogs kind of from this point forward, about once a week, and there will be the occasional additional or addendum to the vlogs if there is some sort of pressing news or very exciting thing to talk about later on in the week. So for this vlog, I actually want to spend a lot of time talking about Dota 2, because I'm sure the few of you that are watching this have seen my stream recently and seen that I have been playing an absurd amount of Dota 2 as of late. I want to talk about why and some of the things about that game in particular that have really sucked me in, why playing Dota 2 non-stop for the past week and a half has been more of a pleasure than a chore. I guess I should probably give some history about where I come from in MOBAs, because I know I've dabbled in all 3 games now, and I'm actually pretty competent in all 3 of them. At this point, I feel like I could cast all 3 games. Maybe not well, mind you, but I could do it. You know, if someone said, all right, we have a tournament tonight, we've got this pro player lined up, we need you to stream and cast this, I could do it. I could do a best of 3 series. You know, I have enough knowledge that I could make it happen. I think most of us have heard my story about, okay, I started esports in StarCraft, and then I started with Hypercrew, and then I graduated to its Gosu, and then this and that, and we all know that story fairly, or at least most of us do, and I think you can find it in vlog number 1, vlog number 2, one of those. Anyhow, my time in gaming actually started before that. I've always been one of those gamers that's been really into 1 or 2 games. I've never been one of those, oh right, yes, the new Fable's coming out for Xbox, oh right, campaign. Like, I've never really liked campaigns. Never really liked Zelda that much. Never really liked any kind of single player mode, really. Pokemon is about the only single player game I ever really enjoyed, and that's because it was only pseudo single player. I was playing it with all my friends, and it was kind of a competitive thing. So I've always been all about that competition, having a ladder, knowing where I am, knowing I'm better than some people, not as good as others. So I played Diablo 2 for a while. There isn't quite a ladder, but the mechanics of that game were quite appealing. And then after Diablo 2, I graduated to Warcraft 3. Big Blizzard fan. I was playing Warcraft 3 as my main game when Dota 1 started gaining in popularity. Before we had all those little bots, when the way to play Dota was just to download the map from whatever it was, playdota.com, and then just head on to the client and join a Dota 2 game on Warcraft 3. That's what I remember from Dota. So naturally, I played a lot of Dota 1. Now, mind you, I wasn't competitive. I wasn't involved with TDA or really involved with the Dota scene, but I've played a lot with my friends. You know, we had 5 of us. We had one of those team names where we all had the same name, but different little symbols at the end. But it was really cute. We had 5 of us, and we played. You know, we'd set up games, and we were bad, but still, I played a lot. I knew the heroes, I knew the items, I knew the basic strategy, and it always was a game that was really fun. Every so often, you get that kind of, oh man, I really kind of just want to play some Dota right now, man. Like, you kind of get that, and with Warcraft 3 CD keys, oh man, I'm so glad you can save those on the cloud now, because it used to be hell in a handbasket. Every time you format it, you have to go find your discs, then try and read the numbers and letters off of the scratched off. Oh god. So I remember Dota quite well. So that's actually why I started playing Han in the first place. I remember when Han came out. I remember when it was in beta and when I got a beta key. Some of my French-Canadian friends at the time were like, yeah, here you go, man. Yeah, this game's awesome. It's like Dota, but better. And, you know, it took a little while to get used to. And after playing Han for however long it's been out, how long has Han been out now? A little more than 2 years? Something like that? Maybe 2.5? I don't know. I don't know when the beta officially started. My dates are a little bit hazy with Heroes of Newerth. Regardless, it doesn't really matter. I've sort of forgotten how much Han has changed and altered that original Dota feel. Not necessarily for a bad way, but it's just a very, very different game. And for a really long time, I was really against the Dota 2 engine. That kind of slower playstyle, sort of feels like you have 200 or 300 MS kind of a style. I really didn't like it, but now that I've gotten used to it, it actually really reminds me of Dota 1. Playing Dota 2 is just like nostalgia for playing Dota 1. The balance is still there. What I really like about it is the art style. How they've maintained that sort of bows and arrows, swords and shields, you know, they're sort of the lone sniper with his guns, but mostly it's all magic and spells and mystical, kind of like something out of World of Warcraft. That sort of medieval, mystical kind of thing, that kind of lore that I'm really into. I really love Warcraft lore, actually. We could spend a lot of time talking about it. I've read quite a few of the World of Warcraft books. So I've always been appealed to that, and I really prefer that style over what Han is sort of shifting to. You know, we've got Cyborg Valkyrie and Mech Warrior Artillery, and you know, that sort of just changes the lore and the scope of the game, and in my mind makes it a little bit less desirable. The big thing about Dota 2 that's really sucked me in, though, this is something that League of Legends has done very nicely as well. They've moved away from that very stat-intensive presence. The way the Heroes of New Earth profile is displayed, the first thing there, your KDA. That's the thing that people look at most. You join a game, I want to go mid. They go, no, you're below 1 KDA, scrub. Get out of here. Get out of town. And then you're like... So that sort of attitude encourages people to consider things like stat resets, like making new accounts, pub stomping, all those sort of things that make the game a lot less fun. So I think there's sort of a fundamental problem there in the way that Han really emphasizes all of those little statistics, you know? Like, oh, you have less than 3 denies per game. Oh, you suck. Oh, you only farm on average 30 creep kills. You're terrible, you know? That might be true, but it's not always great to be able to pull those stats up and be like, no, you absolutely cannot go mid because your stats say that you suck. So what Dota 2 and League of Legends have both done, they do away with that. You can't even see your KDR in Dota. All it is about wins and losses. And really, they just emphasize your wins. So your public profile, you can just see how many wins somebody has. You can't even see how many losses they have. You have to look at your own profile. You have to tell somebody to see what your actual win-loss ratio is. What I also really like about Dota is the way they do that little item thing. After a game, you know, you can get an item and then you can trick out your characters. Now, instead of having full one-time skins like, yeah, Cyborg Valkyrie, you have that same hero, but you just alter him. You get him a new looking axe, or you get him some cool helmet, or some awesome looking shoulders, or a new chest piece, or some boots, or a new belt, stuff so you can beef your character up a little bit. And it makes it feel a little bit more like an RPG. It makes me almost feel like I'm playing World of Warcraft for that moment when I've picked my hero and I'm in that lock-in phase and I get to select which items I want to use. That reminds me of World of Warcraft a little bit. And that feeling of after a game when you get a loot, that's just like that feeling when you're doing Molten Core with 40 people and that quick strike ring drops and every rogue in the world rows for it and you're just a little Fury Warrior and no one cares about you. Okay, and you really, really want it, and then you roll, and you get it, and you're like, oh my god, I rolled a 95! Yes! Alright! You know, it's the same kind of a feeling, because you get those items so infrequently after a Dota game. It's that same kind of a thing, and then I realized, I was like, okay, so that feeling that we had from World of Warcraft, where you get an item, you feel really good, and you're like, yes, now my character's going to be better, this and that. You sort of get that same feeling after the Dota game, when you just get that item from RNG anyway. It's just like, oh yeah, sweet, you got Kunkka's belt with a little sword on him. Just like, sweet. I don't play Kunkka, but this is awesome. This is almost the exact same feeling. And I think Valve did a really good job identifying that. And just makes the game a little bit more fun to play. It gives you something to look forward to after the game, even if you've lost. And I think that also plays into the next point of even though win-loss is all that's on your profile, they still don't really make you feel bad when you lose. I don't really feel bad when I lose anymore. I used to get really mad when I would lose. Ah, God, these kids are so stupid. I just want to break something. My keyboard's taking some dirt hits. It just doesn't make me mad. I just, alright, those guys were retarded. I'm going to move on. Really is a lot of fun. So I've been playing a lot of Dota recently. I will be casting Dota. It's no secret. I've been streaming all of this to admittedly low viewership, as is to be expected. But I'm going to be doing a lot of Dota 2 casting. It's Gosu is doing Han tournaments, as most of us should be aware. The first 2 opens are posted, and there will be an invitational coming up actually sometime in early September. So I'm still casting Han, still doing all that stuff. Like I said, I can definitely do all 3. I don't know if we have a co-cast lined up yet. We'll still be doing some Han casting, but I am definitely sucked into the Dota 2 verse right now. Once you play about 100 games or so, and you get used to the feel of the engine, get used to the heroes, and remember some of the heroes that you've forgotten that haven't been ported to Han. And you just get used to the new graphics, and it is totally totally sucked me in. I am so excited. And I'm actually going to be casting Dota 2 soon. We have a Dota 2 tournament coming up for It's Gosu in the very near future. I actually can't say the date quite yet or too much about it because it is not yet posted, but it will be very shortly. And once it is, I'm actually going to put a link in the description down below so that you can find it. But it should be a really great tournament. I'm really excited to be able to cast it. Debut Dota 2 casting. So the last thing that I want to talk about is just with League of Legends and sort of clear the air a little bit. The reason for that whole anecdote about how I was into Dota 1 and this and that, just to sort of inform that it's not all about like, oh, this game's popular, I want to do this. Oh, Dota 2 is even more popular, I want to do this. Oh, Han's, all right, I want to come back to Han. That's really not my mentality. And I know it probably looks like that from a third-party perspective, and that's really not what I'm trying to do. You know, with League of Legends, I enjoyed the game. I could cast it. I still play it some, but it doesn't speak to me with that same nostalgic factor the same way Dota 1 does. It just isn't the same thing for me. I thought it could be. I tried really hard to get League of Legends there, and unfortunately, it just wasn't. And then the way the tournament stuff worked out, it just wasn't the right time, I guess you could say. So League is still there. Certainly, don't count me out, but it's just not that same thing. I never had that exact just like that moment of when you wake up and you're like, you know what I want to do right now? I just want to play a fucking game of Dota. You know, the other day I was at work and all I could think about was getting home so that I could queue up a game of Dota. It's been a long time since I've had that feeling. I used to feel that way about Diablo 2, Warcraft 3, World of Warcraft. I felt that way about StarCraft 2 when I started my website. That just insane, undescribable urge to just do something. That passion where people are like, why are you wasting your time in video games when you could be doing something else? I'm like, I don't know, man. It just speaks to me. I just really like it. I just wake up, and that's what I want to do. I want to make this work. And I kind of wake up. I woke up the other day having that feeling about Dota 2, and it was just like a light bulb. And that's why I thought, you know what I'm going to do for this? Well, I'm just going to talk about that history of Dota 2 and that feeling that it gives. And I used to have that feeling for Han, but I lost it. I don't know when I lost it, but I lost it somewhere along the way. And it just isn't fun to queue up a game. Or same thing with StarCraft 2. Ladder anxiety. Same thing with Heroes of New Earth games that are a little bit too intense with the ladder. Valve's got something going on. They've got something good going on. You know, at first I was really skeptical about Dota 2 as well, but and talk about their tournament system. You know, there was that podcast we did on the Hancast podcast where we were talking about the different games, and everyone was getting all uppity saying that Han was the best and all this stuff. And someone made a thread on the forums. They were disappointed in their Hancast casters and stuff. And at the time I said, yes, Han has the best replay system. And they did for a really long time. They do no longer. Dota 2 has one up to them on that front. It is absolutely incredible the way they have set up this system with the replays, the selling tickets for tournaments. It gives an additional incentive for tournament organizers to make a little bit of money, to beef up prize pools. It's very affordable. It's controlled. It just works really well. It's built around esports. It's going to foster a competitive environment. I absolutely love it. I think that Valve is pushing the game in the right directions. I mean, I have few complaints about what they're doing so far. The game's free to play, all that kind of stuff. I like it. I like it. And you know, it's free to play, but the way they do their DLC, I mean, I bought a couple of items. You know, I've bought 99 cents. Sure, I'll buy a spear for Phantom Lancer. What the hell? What the hell? And, you know, it just takes a few million people to have that mentality, and there you go. You've got a blockbuster game. Blockbuster indeed. So, but there's no fucking concede function. That is the one thing. That is all right. Take that back. My one complaint about Dota 2. There needs to be a concede function. It is absolutely absurd that game does not have a way to surrender or concede. Makes no sense to me. Absolutely no sense. I know there wasn't one in Dota 1, but that was just the nature of the game. There was not an easy way to do that, to have a vote for people to be able to actually concede a game. It needs to be implemented, and I think it will be implemented eventually, hopefully. Probably. But that is the one thing that frustrates me quite a bit. So that about wraps it up, though, guys. Like I said, this particular vlog doesn't have a lot of groundbreaking news other than It's Gosu. Does have some tournaments coming up that I will be covering. Oh, one thing I probably should say, we can talk about this next week, but I will be going to MLG Raleigh. So I will be attending MLG coming up, and that's part of the reason why this It's Gosu tournament series is split up sort of into the beginning of September, because I will be traveling a fair bit. I'm also going to be traveling a little bit in September as well. I'm going to be driving across country. So a lot of traveling coming up, but if you're in the Raleigh area, I would encourage you to check out the MLG coming up. I think it starts on August 24th, so you guys should definitely check that out. It is a lot of fun. It's nice to be in the company of fellow esports nerds. But that's enough rambling on. I think this vlog has gone on long enough. Thank you so much, guys. Of course, follow all the social networking. You can check everything out at www.zyori.tv. ZyoriTV. Until the next vlog, stay kind to yourselves, stay kind to each other. We'll see you on another cast.